Creating one of the most iconic album covers of all time. I love this album cover. I was curious about it before I even heard the big hit from it, which was Slow Ride. And the title song also got a lot of airplay, Fool for the City. Foghat, Roger Earl, their original drummer who's still with the band, talks about that and a lot more on Rock History Music. Let's talk about Foghat, a British band that emerged in the early 70s, known for their blues-infused rock and boogie style. The group was formed in 1971 by former members of the blues rock band Savoy Brown. The original lineup included Lonesome Dave Peverett on lead vocals and rhythm guitar, Tony Stevens on bass guitar, Roger Earl drums, and Rod Price lead and slide guitar. The founding members were seasoned musicians. Lonesome Dave was known for his gritty style voice, energetic stage presence, and of course, a creative force in that band. Tony Stevens, as a bassist in this type of band, was crucial. Then Roger Earl, what a character. A very powerful drummer. And Rod Price's distinctive slide guitar, a trademark in the Foghat sound. As the popularity grew, of course, lineups changed. It is a rock band. Nick Jameson replaced Tony Stevens on bass and contributed to production. He was also a significant force on the band's biggest album, Fool for the City. And there was another replacement bassist, Craig McGregor. Like a lot of bands, they experienced their own strife and lineup changes, as mentioned. When Tony Stevens left because of creative differences and fatigue from the band's rigorous touring schedule. In the late 70s and early 80s, as the band's commercial success started to wane, more creative differences emerged, particularly between Peverett and the rest of the band. He left to create his own version of Foghat in the US, which caused a lot of confusion, and there were legal problems. The successes? Well, Foghat's discography has a lot of significant albums and singles. These are the tunes that cemented their success. Their third album, Energized, came out in 1974. It was their first to go gold, but it was their fifth studio album, Fool for the City, in 75, that brought them mainstream success. That's the one that featured their big hits, Slow Ride. Often characterized as infectious, that riff is very catchy, of course. And it's still a mainstay on classic rock radio. Other notable albums, Foghat, the debut, in 1972, featured the popular track, I Just Want to Make Love to You, which really showcased that blues rock roots. In 74 came Rock and Roll Outlaws, with the track 8 Days on the Road. Night Shift from 76 continued their run of successful albums, and a cool copy of Al Green's Take Me to the River. Their live album from 77 was very successful. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Charlie Hume, who collaborated with Ted Nugent, and Humble Pie, and many others, before joining Foghat in the year 2000. He was with them till 2022. As of 2022, the lineup for Foghat includes Roger Earl, who was with them right back to 1971, an original member, on drums. Brian Bassett, former Wild Cherry guitarist, yes, play that funky music, on lead and slide guitar and backing vocals. He joined in 1999. Rodney O'Quinn on bass guitar, and Scott Holt, lead vocals. Overall, their legacy as a powerful force in blues, rock, and boogie has always kept them on the pages of rock and roll magazines and websites all over the world. Fool for the City, the album cover, I know you've told the story before, but did the cops really come up to you and say, do you have a fishing license?
Yeah. Then they were wound down their window, wound down. This is when it was. They said, hey, because we pulled the manhole cover up, but we were in St. Mark's Place in Village in New York City in Manhattan. They ran there, they said, hey, we went, oh shit. It was early one Sunday morning. They said, you got a license? They did. And I went, oh dear, we're in for it. You got a fishing license? They got out of their cruiser and came over. What are you guys doing? Dangerous lifting up a manhole cover in Manhattan. And so they were really cool. We explained to them what we were doing. We were doing an album cover. And they took control of the traffic and just moved them around us and took some pictures and carting me away and handcuffing me and stuff like that. But New York cops, I've said this before as well, New York cops, they're great. They look at things and go, oh, okay, just don't get into trouble, or they'll take control of it. They're more worried about the murder. They take care of that. I wouldn't want to be a cop. I have a nephew who's a police officer in New Jersey, and two of my stepsons were police officers in New York. so I know what they have to put up with. And I know sometimes the cops get a bad rap, but it's got to be hard working with trying to arrange or rearrange low lifes and people who want to murder you and shoot you. So yeah, I support our police and cops. That's probably one of the toughest jobs out there. So yeah, I support our law enforcement.
You know what? Let's say a 19-year-old comes up to you, 19 comes up to you, Roger, and says, I like your music. I've gone through your total discography, but I want more. What should I be listening to? What would you tell that 19-year-old?
To stuff that you love. Music is all about passion. Oh, good music, I think. Great music is certainly about passion. And I think the reason I got into playing music is because there were it was always about the music. I grew up listening to Johnny Cash.
Oh yeah,
Jerry
you're
Lee
a big
Lewis.
Johnny Cash fan. I forgot that. Yes.
That I wanted to play drums in a band. I mean, I knew right from the beginning. I listened to drums ever since I think I was about 9. I brought a record of Jazz at the Philharmonic, and it was Buddy Rich and a couple of other drummers, and I was just fascinated by all that percussive noise, and that moved. But I always wanted to play in a band. I always wanted to play music. It's all right sitting there, making noise, and it's good fun. Don't get me wrong. I mean, playing the drums I think it's the best job in a band anyway. But if you're not in a band with people with likewise taste in music and people that you feel you can inspire and push, and I've been fortunate throughout my life, actually. Even the very first band I was in, I played with really good players. Dave Hutchins, who was the best friend at the time, a bass player. Ray Dorset, who went on to be in Mungo Jerry, was the singer in this band when I was, 16 years old. And then joining Savoy Brown, there were great players. Kim Simmons, Lonesome Dave. Chris Jordan's probably one of the best blues singers to come out of England, I think. And then we formed Foghat, and we met Rob Price joined the band, who was a brilliant guitar and lead guitar player. And I always played with really, really, great bass players. Tony Stevens, a really good bass player, a bit of an asshole, but a great bass player. And Nick Jameson, Craig McGregor. I mean, I played with these fantastic bass players. So I think that helps raise your game when you play with great musicians. And like now, Brian Bassett is an incredible guitar player, slide guitar player, musician, and human being, actually, in general. He's one of the brightest, most genuine people I've ever known.
Mick Jagger really spill his beer on you?
Hey, no, it was the Eel Pie Island, and it was the night that one of the nights that Brian Jones wasn't there, and their road manager, Ian Stewart, was playing piano, and Keith was playing all the lead guitar parts. And I went up to get a beer. I was only 16, I think, at the time, and Mick turned round with his beer and bumped into me and said, "Oh, sorry, mate." That was my brush of greatness. I've never seen Mick since then, but I did play on his brother's first album, Chris Jagger's first album. So I don't recall saying just that. And I've said a lot of things over the years. I've been around for 7
Me too.
I think the 50s and 60s changed everything. After World War II, the world changed. Music changed. Certainly in England, I know my dad, was listening to like big band music, which of course the GIs brought over from the States, and everything changed. Then of course rock and roll started. Yeah, we'd be nothing without that. I would be out of work. But yeah, for me, like when I was, getting into learning my craft, as it was, like not becoming a drummer in a blues or rock and roll band. It's like, it was exciting for me. I mean, I think that's why I said it, because I listened to all sorts of drummers. It wasn't just the bands that were at the time, Cliff Richard and the Shadows or whatever it was, which I'm sure they were very good. But I listened to, like, early blues stuff. I listened to Little Richard's drummer, El Palmer. I mean, I couldn't play like that at the beginning because I was trying to figure out what the drums were doing. The music would just overpower me. I mean, Little Richard's early records, they were just like incredible. But eventually I managed to sort of figure it out, and I had a really good drum teacher. And he was a jazz drummer, and I think you have to learn to play a shuffle and that sort of ride beat. Everything should swing to some degree. It's not like that. It's a that. The same thing, but there's a swing to it. There's movement in the song. I've made records playing to a click track, which is like a tool that drummer, you use it, to sort of get the music working and done. Because sometimes it can get a little complicated, but you got 3, 4, 5 instruments all playing at the same time, and so a click track is like, there's a standard. I mean, I play to like that, but it's a lot more fun when you're playing it. I guess the term is organically. When there's the 3 or 4 of you in the room, and the magic happens. That's what it's about.
Well, I really hope you enjoyed that. Roger Earl is quite a character, huh? Still doing it after a lot of years. The only original member left in Foghat. There'll be links to Foghat in the description of this video. Also links if you want to help out the channel. We're in the process of changing our mics, and buying good mics are very expensive. So this little Yeti Blue is pretty good. We need a better mic than this. So if you want to help us out, you can make a donation on our PayPal page. There's links in the description. Also links to Patreon, where you can get early access to all our videos. And remember to subscribe, click the notifications so you don't miss a video. A lot of folks have a tendency to forget that. But click the bell notification, you'll get included in everything we do, and you can join our newsletter too. There's a link in the description where you can do that. Like our videos, comment on them, and share them on social media. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music.